and actually do it. Like, you picture yourself in that situation, and then you use your whole body, just like imagine yourself, and then spew it right out there. It's gonna feel so great.
Was Dokidokon last game?
Yeah, it was.
Alright, cool. There's a lot of people, especially like me, who are wanting to voice act or do any like type of voice acting, or be in the voiceover industry.
Yeah.
And I love this city, but it is one of those small towns, unfortunately, based off of all America.
Sure.
So first things first, like tell me about yourself.
Sure, yeah. Well, my name is Goffeney. I was pretty much born and raised in the Kalamazoo area, like Three Rivers, just a little bit away from Kalamazoo. I acted for a lot of my life, high school, that sort of thing, but I stumbled upon voiceover kind of by chance, actually. It was just, I saw a project and it looked cool, so I gave it a shot, and people liked my voice, and I just kind of kept doing it. So now I go to Kalamazoo Valley Community College, and pretty much use voiceover to help pay for college finances and that sort of thing. So.
And who was the voice actor that helped you? And I know in one of your files you said someone specifically.
Yes, someone specifically. His name is Anthony Gettig. He's a full-time voice actor here in Kalamazoo. He does pretty much all commercial work, like e-learning and commercials. He does it, and he has like a family, has like 8 kids or something, and he pays for everything just from voice work. So I've been to his studio a couple of times. He pretty much, we meet up every month. We try to, online or in person, and he just shared some of his wisdom, how he got started, and sort of helped guide me in the right direction. And then from there, I just learned myself, just from using the websites and meeting people, and then just kind of learned as I went.
So you would say you're self-taught in the biggest.
I would say I am self-taught. Yeah, it's all about just doing it, and then doing something wrong, and then realizing, oh, fixing that, you know. And then you meet people, you ask how they did it, you learn their stories, and after a few months, if you really do it every day, you're set.
So do you believe, like, especially as a voice actor, you hear a lot of the higher name voice actors saying, like, hey, you should probably go into, like Eric Stewart said, I did it because I went through music, and I was able to do voice acting, or and now I'm the Kaiba voice. You had Joel McDonald who's like, you had to do theater, and there's just so many things, but do you think that's changing, especially if you want to be a voice actor at this day? You don't have to stick yourself into those roles.
Oh yeah, I feel like 10 years ago that would be mostly true, and it's true to some extent today, but 10 years ago you couldn't do voiceover online, at least to this extent. It's crazy now. You can just get a microphone, make an account, and just start voicing. I would say you don't need that experience to be an online voice actor, especially. It certainly helps, but I mean, in this day and age, yeah, the internet is so crazy. You can do anything through the internet. So no, you don't need theater experience, but it helps certainly.
Just being a little bit more on the creative side, like just like, oh, change your picture over.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
in terms of, because it's a lot easier to do this online, do you think that diminishes the quality with the increased quantity of the amount of people doing online work?
You mean because there's so many people?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it does, but it's okay. So like on Casting Call Club, a lot of the projects are poor quality because anybody can make a project. That's why we have a moderator system where you can filter just recommended projects or approved projects. But it's like, I think that's a good thing to some extent. Just that's anybody can do it is a good thing. Like that's exciting.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're gonna meet people who don't know what they're doing and who are, you know, really inexperienced, but they learn too as time goes on. So even though yes, it does overall diminish the quality of people that you meet, there's still that maximum quality is still there. You're still gonna meet the best of the best.
So you think? So it's that fervent belief that, hey, we start off small here, and then we're gonna meet bigger people later on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Like you're gonna be in projects with bigger names and bigger names and bigger names. You have to be friends with them, make connections, and eventually you'll start doing in-person voice work. Probably, you know, it just depends on how much work you put into it, and you'll start making those connections.
And who's the biggest name person you've worked with so far?
Like
any show, any game, any.
Well, I mean, I'm friends with people who have done work for things like Funimation. I'm friends with Kiba Walker. He was in Black Clover. I can't remember what his role was, but yeah, Kiba Walker. He's I can't think of specific titles, but PM Seymour, yeah, Patrick, Sebastian Todd's a good friend of mine. Like those are more. They do mostly online work, but they're still well known in the in-person. You know, they still do in-person work too. I've not talked to Kira Buckland, but because she runs Voice Acting Club and Casting Call Club, we kind of crossed paths. It's kind of hard to say, but those are some of the ones. You know, just some Funimation voice actors and people like that.
And
But
Kiba Walker has also done GameStop TV spots as well.
oh yeah,
so.
he's one of the faces of.
Yeah.
Was it at E3? He did that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. But,
I'm so proud of him.
So,
He's getting big.
The best way to be a good way to be a rising star is be friends with other rising stars as well.
Yeah, but like keep in mind
We
too.
all grow.
Yeah, we all grow. Oh yeah, but keep in mind too that it's not just about making those connections. They'll come naturally. So don't go messaging those people or saying, hey, you know, like you can ask them for advice and stuff, but there's a lot of people who a little more than just advice. They're a little more pestery. So don't pester these people. It's gonna come naturally.
Yeah,
if you work
make
in the
the
voice
growth organic and don't try injecting steroids into it because you might overdose. So,
That sounds.
grim as an analogy that may be, I think it's
That's just like you. Oh my
I
god.
think that's a very legitimate, as a sound justification.
I mean, it's
voice
true
acting in
though.
general.
It should be natural. That's the biggest thing.
And I've actually got a little bit of the story about that. So I was just somebody that was fairly new to casting call. Like I'd say it was about a year and a half. I think it's been 2 years now.
Oh yeah.
Basically, I would just be in a few random things. I was in like some abridged series and everything. Then when he was in Attack on Titan fandub, which
A couple years ago, yeah.
I know, that's right. Yeah, it was like the first episode. I'm just like, I auditioned for like so many people, and then he auditioned me, and I got like 3 of the roles in there. It was something else.
Yeah, it's about going for it, and all that stuff that we talked about.
Well, the biggest thing too is that like back then I didn't really know too many other people, but then when I met Joe, all of a sudden it's just like I was in this Discord server and he knew a whole bunch of people, and like I started branching out a lot more, and it was more than just casting call. There were recommendations from Twitter and YouTube that I had no idea about. So like getting connections with, you know, a better voice actor, well, I shouldn't say better voice actor, I'm saying like a more well-known, I know, yeah, a more well-known voice actor.
Yeah.
Like that, it definitely helps, and now I'm in like so many other projects, and I couldn't be happier, so.
And do you think just being in Casting Call Club, was that one of your biggest stepping stones, especially with the music?
Definitely.
Yeah. This Casting Call Club is where I started, and eventually became a moderator, now I'm part of the education program. That's been a huge step for sure, and we're helping people get started too. It's really exciting.
So, and it's really great, especially like, you know, in my personal opinion, I feel like you're giving a lot of us who want to do it, and we live in this town, right? But there's not as many, unless you live in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Texas,
New York,
you know, it's like it's hard.
There's like only 3 places.
And you're giving, I feel like it's a great thing that you're giving a lot of the people who aspire to do voice acting because of all you've done is like watch anime videos, and you're like, I'm gonna do let's go with some basic questions.
Yeah.
Like, what is the most hated stereotype that you have to voice?
Like character stereotype, or
Just voice, character personality.
I'm only going to
And
say
did you do it
this
because you had to pay? Sorry.
Well, I really haven't had much experience with paid work. I've done mostly unpaid stuff like fan dubs and bridges, and the one that I felt like I cannot believe I'm doing this is like I was doing a Smash Bros. Fan dub, DK, and I was doing this black gangster voice, and I was like, I should not be doing this. I should not be doing this.
yeah, it's
Something
that's the
way
power
off
of voiceover,
description.
though. I mean,
Right. Well, that's another interesting thing as well. You've noticed, like, over almost the last 2 decades, in like the professional voice acting realm, is like they'll go back and forth between like, okay, so should you like try accents that are not natural to yours? Yes or no? You've seen this like with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. The first season, it's like you have American voice actors putting on these British and Italian accents that are pretty thick. But come time for the new season, like part 3, they're all speaking in American accents, even if they're like playing Egyptian characters, for instance. So it's like, you know, because like on the one hand, it's like, hey, we want it to have an authentic sound to like the story, the setting, but then the other side of the debate is like, hey, we don't want it to reinforce stereotypes, especially where it's like, you know, people who are not from that mold. I mean, like, you really look back on the history of it, and you see it kind of going back and forth in ways. It's something really interesting to study about.
Yeah, but as far as most hated stereotype character, that's a really good question. I honestly, I don't like, there's characters that I've voiced that people hate, and that's kind of a good thing. I'm happy, like villain characters, so I'm good friends with YouTuber Ruby Samuels. She does webtoon dubs and that sort of thing. And I voice a villain in one of her shows, and he says awful things, like, this guy is the scum of the earth. But I love it, you know what I mean? Because all the comments are like, oh, that Hayashi guy, oh man, I hate that guy. But it's like, deep down, you know, give me a chance. But that's kind of the good thing, though. I mean, it means that the job is being done. So, I guess, you know, villains like that, I don't do villains that often, but it's nice to hear that people hate them.
Definitely. Honestly, I really cannot think of one off the top of my head. I mean, I also don't want to like pause for like 10 minutes trying to think about one either. So, I mean honestly,
you got a turn to get to. So
I know, honestly, like just whenever I audition for something, I can usually change my voice in like just a flip of a switch or something. Like 1 minute I'll give this really nice, polite conversation, then another time it's like I'll be really raspy. And, like it messes with my vocal cords a little bit, but it's like I have so much fun. I can portray so many different people. It was like, as far as finding something to really hate, I haven't encountered one yet. But it'll be interesting when I find that out, and then like
it'll be
sometime I'll just exactly.
You'll be recording and like, oh, this is it.
Yeah, exactly.
With regards to sites, so you talk about Casting Call, right?
Yeah.
Tell me more about casting. Tell us more about Casting Call.
All right.
Of course, yeah. Casting Call, it's a voiceover website. I think we hit 100,000 users.
Yeah, like a couple of months ago.
Yeah. So it's grown.
It's very popular. It's a great place for hobbyist voice actors, especially who are just getting started. But they also have plenty of gaming roles. Indie games are posted there, visual novels, that sort of thing. Audiobooks, like we talked about earlier. Yeah. It's a great all-around website. They have projects for everybody, pretty much.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So it's a beginner place, but it's also a place for experienced actors too.
Stepping stone as well. Like Space Pirates and Zombies 2 had Casting Call Club.
They did, yeah.
The one on Steam. So yeah, it's like, and they were offering like $1,000 rolls there. So I mean, you will see that occasionally. For the most part, you'll just see like, you know, full fun or experience like fan dub casting calls. It's like, I mean, you know, you gotta ride a tricycle first before you can compete in the Tour de France, right? You gotta learn how to ride the bike before you can go on a marathon.
Right. Now I want to see a Tour de France, somebody on a tricycle.
right. But yeah,
Be
so
a celebrity.
Casting Call Club, the owner and founder, Buford Taylor, he did it because, you know, he's a programmer by nature, but when he was in college, he liked voice acting. He went to Behind the Voice Actors and tried out there until, like, you know, he got too busy, got into his job. Tried coming back after, like, 10 years, saw a update, and he's like, you know what, I can do this better. Made Casting Call Club 3 years ago, and now it's at 100,000 users, and smoking Behind the Voice Actors. Yeah. So, not to throw shade to Behind the Voice Actors, because they have the IMDb section of voice actors where it's like, that's their main focus. The project's the secondary, actually.
Casting calls,
Casting Call Club is project's primary, so.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the main focus of the website, is the community and the projects that are posted there. Anybody can post a project, anybody can audition, so it's great.
And it's a great, and like I said, it's a great starting.
Yes,
obvious
the number one place to start.
And not only that, it's also expanding to not just voice actors, but also video editors, script writers, artists, directors, sound composers, stuff like that.
Yeah, they have plenty to offer. And like your profile, it can be your website for your first couple of years. You know, you can list, they have clients section, a pricing section. You can follow people on there. It's, you know, it's a great Great place to be.
And next year, there's aims to get it to be translated into multiple languages.
Originally, especially when you were doing, like, back in the old days, you had to start having like some kind of demo reel. Did you need to have a demo reel for this?
I would say you don't need one, especially when you're first starting. You're going to need one eventually, and if you're serious about voiceover, you're going to want to hire somebody to make your demo, but until then you can create your own demo. Just reasons, there's a bunch of reasons why. There's a big quality difference between the two, but when you're first starting, no, you don't need a demo reel. First year or so.
A demo reel is often considered to be a resume for voice actors. So where it's like, you don't hand paper sheets with like, hey, here's my experience. You just have like a 1 minute clip where you say your name like Alex Evans, and then you go on and you provide 6 or 8 different voices, what you're capable of doing. Demo reels are resumes, and it's like, you don't need a resume for a hobby. If you start getting into work, then yeah, that's time to get a demo reel.
Okay.
Well, it's cool too, because I basically have both anyways. I just have like a paper of all the experience as well as a demo reel. Yeah, you definitely don't need the paper, but for me, I'm just like, it's not a bad idea. I can go.
And you said this is Casting Call?
Castingcall.club. Yep,
Oh,
or you
okay.
can just Google Casting Call Club.
And again, that's another one of Buford's quirks, because he's very tech oriented. So he has one of the few websites that has a .club domain.
Yeah.
Probably the most popular .club domain.
Probably.
Could be fact checked though, but I'm
You could
pretty
be
sure
wrong.
it's definitely in the top 10, I would say, if not top 3.
Just a great place to be, great community, great actors. So,
I guess then, just to like kind of just head it off, like,
yeah.
what do you got? What tips and tricks do you guys have for especially beginners, especially from towns like this? Like, what do you suggest?
Big one I would give out there: express yourself, especially when you're going into voice acting. Like, just a big example, like let's say you want to scream. You don't want to give one of those calm little like, kind of things, like just because you're in front of a microphone. Like, no, get a little bit of distance from yourself and actually do it. Like, you picture yourself in that situation, and then you use your whole body, just like imagine yourself, and then spew it right out there. It's gonna feel so great. I've had to scream so many times, and sometimes I would even laugh, and it's just like, this is what I love about it. I can express myself a lot more. I'm not trying to be like this little kid in a corner just be like, it's like, that's not what I do. I'm gonna scream and you're gonna like it.
Nice. That's great advice. I would say the big one is just constantly, a lot of people think when you're starting voiceover that it's hard. It really isn't hard to start. You just audition, and you can audition for as many projects as you want. So I would recommend just auditioning like now. Just do it, and to get the practice in, and just start doing it every day.
Exactly. Who cares whether you can or you can't? The fact that you're doing it, that's already good.
That's the first step.
And my thing would be your environment. Not just stuff where it's like, your room, is it echoey like this? And which would interfere with a microphone. But also stuff as well where it's like, is your home by a busy street for one? Are there people in your home that's constantly opening and slamming doors or turning on the TV? Are you yourself constantly busy with other obligations to family, friends, clubs, whatever? Because that is also part of your environment, and it could impede on your availability, because the best ability is availability.
Okay.
In voice acting.
Literally talking about my house.
Hey, it still ties into the fact that environment is a really strong deciding factor for you. Where it's like, in small communities, that is one aspect of environment. I'm talking about a different kind of environment where it's like your immediate home, your immediate like recording situation, and also who is in your environment as well.
So feeling, environment, and consistency.
Yeah,
exactly. Just to sum it all up for everybody.
Feeling, environment, consistency.
But thank you very much, guys.
Right.
Please go ahead and enjoy the rest of the convention.
Thank you.
I really do appreciate you guys.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much.